Good morning, y'all. I feel like I haven't been here in a little bit. Um, I told everybody that once the Big Brother season is over, I'm not on here as much. When the Big Brother season is on, I'm on nearly every day. I'll say 4 to 5 days a week, almost every week when the Big Brother season is on. The reason I don't dedicate as much time to going live when the Big Brother season is not on is just frankly that when I go on in the off season, there's a tenth of the people on the live than what there is during the season. So I'm like, as much as I love talking to myself and looking at a camera, it's not really an incentive or motivation to do that very much. I might go back to making some pre-recorded videos. Who knows? Hopefully, I get into this interview bag. Ashley told me to reach out to her in 2 weeks, and I'm literally going to do that because even when I think things are a long shot, if somebody gives me an instruction, a specific set of instructions to get something that I want, I'm gonna at least try. Just like when all those people tell me, shoot me a DM, talk to my manager. I think that for sure none of those people are going to get back to me, but regardless, I at least can say I did my own due diligence to make sure that I tried. I worked with whatever they gave me, and you know, they just didn't answer. Caught on early one. Hi, Cass. Shelly friends. Yeah, I don't know what those do either. It's cool when they pop up on the screen. I honestly think YouTube is just trying to keep up with TikTok. I think that's all it is. YouTube is like, we're not TikToky enough. And honestly, it's the same thing that I face because people tell me that my interviews and stuff would have served on TikTok. Maybe I just had an idea for myself. Like maybe I can take my interviews that I have done and upload them to TikTok in 10-minute parts. That's an idea. Because I see like the thing about TikTok is that people will watch things, but like an hour and a half interview on my YouTube page, somebody told me that that's long form. They were like, and it's true because when I look up my demographics, I mean they show you your demographics for your page, like your analytics. I think is what I was looking for. They show you your analytics for your page, and my age range of the majority of the people who watch the page, I think, is between ages 35 and 44, which is all fine and good, but they don't watch it in large enough amounts for the content to be highly monetized. Basically, I only make anything when Big Brother is on. That's the only time that I'm really getting enough engagement to make anything. So on TikTok, it's obviously probably a younger fan base or whatever, but I've heard TikTok can be very profitable, and I never utilized it. My only thing is I don't know if they would go for old interview content, but there's a thing called New to You. There was a store, there was a consignment store that we used to have near my house when I was growing up, and the store was called New to You. And what it was is like you bring in your stuff for consignment, and it had to be fairly high quality of stuff. And then between you and the store owner, I guess, you pick a price for whatever it is that you want to sell. You get a percentage, and they get a percentage. And I thought it was a clever name to call it new to you, because the item was not new when you go in and shop, but you had never had it before, or you might not have ever seen it before. So it's new to you. So the point of saying that, perhaps if I post those interviews on TikTok, none of those TikTokers will have ever seen them. So yeah, I'm wasting all that stuff on my page, and I should be posting it on TikTok while those people are still relevant. Because the good thing about being a blogger is I can be relevant forever. um, for a lot of them, I mean, some of them are relevant, but it's not all of them. I don't think we're going to be talking about Ava in 10 years. I don't think we're going to be talking about Catherine or, Zach. Not for TV reasons. Like, those are people that can kind of just fly under the radar if they want to. I think you should. Is that Snoopy? I bought a Charlie Brown book from the dollar store yesterday. I love it. I love Charlie Brown, man. Charlie Brown is the show. I absolutely love Charlie Brown. I gotta do some sketches. I gotta go back to doing some comedy sketches. Those are the good old days. Anyways, there was some stuff I wanted to say. I forgot. Shout out to Tucker and Eric, because that amazing race party was everything. I told you guys I paid $12 to get in. $12, right? That's the lowest that I've ever paid for anything. The second lowest that I paid for one of these events was like $40, I believe, and I believe that was one of the first, maybe the first challenge event that I went to when they used to have them at this bar. It was called West End Bar, I think, or East End Bar, and it was in Manhattan. Somebody at my work that was coming here, that moved here from Michigan. Somebody to ask him, "How's your week? How was your weekend?" And he said, "Oh, my weekend was great. I spent my weekend in Manhattan." And I'm not even one to laugh at people's accents, because me, no matter where I go, somebody is telling me that I have an accent. When I go home to Canada, people are like, "You sound like a New Yorker." When I'm here, they're like, "You sound like a Canadian." When I'm other places, they say, "You sound like this." So I'm not even one to laugh at people for having an accent. But he said, "We spent the weekend in Manhattan." And I was like, "Say it again." He's like, "Manhattan." And I'm like, and then he's like, "Why are you laughing? Isn't it called Manhattan?" And I was like, "It absolutely is called, like, that's how you spell it, and that's probably how you say it, but nobody from here says that." First of all, I don't even say it like that, but second of all, if you live here, nobody even says Manhattan. They're like, "I spent the weekend in the city." You only hear me saying that because a couple of times I said, "I spent the day, I went to the city for such and such," and only people who really have been to New York know that going to the city literally means Manhattan because we have all five boroughs are considered the city. Like I live in the city technically. When people are like, "Do you live in the city?" Yes, I do live in the city. But when we from that live here say something about the city specifically means Manhattan. What is this little gift thing? And oh, it gives me the option to like the jellyfish. Top fans. Cass Wash Wash, Nicopolo, Jamie Mendoza. Shout out to my top fans. Yeah, so that event was cool. I liked it. It was very low key to the point where I was like, man, bring on the energy, man. Where's the energy? 'Cause nothing is really happening like that. But then I was like, you know what? It's better like this because there's way less people. Like when I went in there, when I first walked in there, and when I saw Tucker and Eric, I was like talking to them. I showed them some pictures. I was like, Tucker, I've met you a few times now. He's like, oh yeah, where? And then I explained something very specific to him and then showed him. Then he remembered. Eric, I I don't think he remembered as much, but I only met him that one time, I believe. And but then they were like, he was introducing me to his childhood best friend. We were sitting there and we were talking about the Amazing Race for a while, and then I was talking to Eric for a while, and then I think after that, I spoke to Hannah for a while, and then I spoke to Ashley, and then I spoke to Enzo, and then I spoke to who else was there? Nicole, Nicole, yes, I spoke to Nicole, and can't remember. T-Core, yeah, T-Core was there. I spoke to T-Core. I didn't speak to T-Core for that long. That wasn't because of her. Quite honestly, I was like, what more can I talk to T-Core about? That's really what it was. I probably could have had a regular conversation with her, but I was kind of there for talking to people about their shows, and there's nothing like really show-wise to talk to her about. So that's the reason why that didn't happen. Wisconsin accents are weird. Milwaukee, not too much. I don't even really. It's been a while since I've heard a Wisconsin accent. So I can't even really say that I know what a Wisconsin accent sounds like because I don't remember. It's been a while. Like I know like a general Midwest accent. I know a Chicago accent when I hear one. I know a Detroit accent when I hear one. Wisconsin, not so much. Aaliyah. Hey Holly, how's it going? Wisconsin, Wisconsin. Are you in Wisconsin too, Holly? Because if so, I'll keep my Wisconsin jokes to myself today. Ohio. You know what? We used to make the drive when I was in college to drive from Massachusetts to Michigan, which was a long drive. It was like 16 hours. And every time that the only thing that I was really in Ohio for was just like I had to pass through Ohio to get to Michigan. And I'll never forget this one time I was passing through Ohio. I forgot what was bordering Ohio that I passed. But the speed limit is my point. The speed limit was like 70 wherever I was. And then I saw the Welcome to Ohio sign, and then the speed limit now was 55. And I was probably going, I don't know how fast I was going. I don't know how fast I was going. But anyways, the speed limit slowed down. And so I tried to slow down. And then I remember a police officer pulled me over right there. He must have seen my Massachusetts plate and was excited to pull me over. And then I wasn't going to Canada. I was going to Michigan. So, anyways, the officer pulled me over and he was like, "Do you know how fast you were going?" And I said, "I think I was going the speed limit." He was like, "No, you weren't." So he comes back, gives me a ticket that shows me that I was going. It said that I was going 7 miles over the speed limit, and I was like thinking to myself, I can't believe this man pulled me over for being 7 miles over the speed limit. This is like insane to me. I never experienced that anywhere else. And then the ticket, $180. And I was like, how can I get a $180 ticket for being 7 miles over the speed limit? Then he showed me like the legend on the bottom of the ticket that said like 1 to 20 miles per hour over the speed limit is this, and like 21 to 30 miles over is like it had a range. I think over here is something like $10 per mile that you're over, but over there had a range. Like if you're 1 mile over or if you're 15 miles over, it was the same range. And I'm like, what? You got ranges? You got range? Like, so if I get pulled over, I asked him, if I go 1 mile over the speed limit and you pull me over, I would have still had to pay this $180 ticket. He was like, welcome to Ohio. Ha ha ha. And since then, I've had beef with Ohio, long story short. But I'd be willing to go to Ohio. What would I be willing to go to Ohio for? Cleveland. I don't know, just to go see what Cleveland's all about. I've never really, unlike Wisconsin, where I've actually spent time in Wisconsin multiple different times, I had not actually done anything in Ohio aside from pass through, get a speeding ticket, and probably fill up my gas a couple of times. Let me see what this person said. So actually, when I lived in Canada, not when I lived in Canada, when I went to school in Michigan, since it was so far from home, the only time I got to go home was Christmas time. So I would actually go stay by my grandma's, and there was like a group of us that were Canadian at the school. So once I found that group, because I did not know them at first, but I found out that they knew my family and everything, um, we would drive from Michigan to Canada, and the drive was about a 6-hour drive. It's not that bad. About a 6-hour drive, and we would all get in this van together, and we get in this van and go together. I enjoyed those trips to Canada from Michigan, and sometimes I would go stay by my aunt and my uncle who also lived in Michigan, but not in the part that I lived in. They lived in Bloomfield Hills, which was more close to the Detroit area, and I think I was in like Southwest Michigan, wherever it was. I was 20 minutes away from Notre Dame, the college in Indiana, in South Bend, Indiana. So I would go stay with them. Rest in peace to them. Uncle, he passed in, what year did he pass? It was this year. He passed in February of this year. My aunt, his wife, passed in February of last year. So they died like February 2024 and February 2025. I went back over there for both, for each funeral. It was very sad, but they were also very sick, especially him. He had like a whole bunch of strokes, and she developed some kind of, I think, colon cancer, and yeah. There are bike lanes. I hate the bike lanes. I'm not gonna lie to you. Those bikers, own the road. Like I just be driving, and then the bikers are just zooming in through the traffic, like in and out, like they own the road. So I do not love sharing the road with the bikers. I do not. My ABS went out. Get around this morning, so I feel lost. You know, that's an idea. Golf carts? Wow. Like golf carts on the road? Alright. I got a feeling that this is the next troll comment. Oh, somebody already hit it. She said golf carts. I said what I said. I said what I said. Good morning, chocolate. This is probably maybe the second time that Cassandra has beat you to the punch. But don't worry, you're still way ahead. You're still so far ahead that Cassandra making it here earlier than you still does not make an impact on the employee of the month award. You still got it. You still got it until you go rogue. You saw a man on a horse saying that. Man, that's what the most Wisconsin thing I've heard this morning. That is Wisconsin AF. Like, hey, I saw a man on a horse. I mean, we have people on horses, but not just randomly. The people on the horses are all in the city. That's not something you're just gonna randomly run into. Shoot, man. Shoot, man. Today is Tuesday. I couldn't hear. Well, I didn't think you'd be able to, because it was still in a bar after all. But I can tell you exactly what I said to Hannah. Where did I put my sunglasses? I can tell you in a moment. Okay. Yeah, we good to go. Where did I put my sunglasses, yo? Mark. Pay attention. There you are. I didn't have to go through my usual morning frantic search for something that I misplaced. Thank you, God, for one morning that I found something that I lost. You know, somebody told me one time there was this time period where I was losing everything. I was losing this and I was losing that. And then I told one of my friends, I said, I was like, man, I'm so stressed because I lost my wallet and I lose everything. And this person says to me, as long as you didn't lose your mind, everything else you can get back. And I was like, I don't know if you were trying to be super deep, but you succeeded. Okay, I know I was counting my days. I was counting my days because I have physical therapy on certain days. And I'm not sure if today is one of those days or not. I will find out. Hopefully. As soon as I get to my car. Actually, if I don't find out, just give the physical therapy place a call and find out when my next appointment is. Simple as that. Simple as that. Alright. See you later, Holly. So what I was saying to Hannah Chata, I walked up to her. She said she didn't see me. I mean, I believe her. She said that she didn't see me. I saw her because when I walked in, she was one of the first people that I saw. I didn't go over to her right away because she came in and she went up. There's a little VIP section upstairs. When I saw her, when I did talk to her, I was just like, "Hey Hannah, how are you doing?" She's like, "Hey Mark, nice to see you again." And she said, "I'm surprised to see you here." And I was like, "Why? Why are you surprised? I'm at all these things, especially the New York ones. You always see me at these." And she was like, "Yeah, but I'm like this one. You're here kind of low key incognito." Said I'm used to you. Said I'm used to you being at these things like dressed in some kind of an outfit or like some kind of a thing, which is fair enough. And that's because most of what I've been to is like Oz's things, and they're always like disco themed or whatever. So there's usually some kind of theme that I'm matching. And this time, I just came in there like low key. So I said fair enough. And then after that, I said to her, I was like, it's cool to see you back doing another show because I know it's been a while and you have your grad school and everything. And she was just like, oh, thank you for that. And I told her one thing I can say. Let me refresh. I told her that one thing I can say about her is that she's very much the same. I said, I hope you take this as the compliment that it is. That I have now known you for like 3 years. Not known her like that. But I mean, met up with her probably at least 8 to 10 different events at this point, if not more. And I said, a lot of people that I meet or speak to from these shows, I see like a show version of them and a non-show version of them. And I said, you're the one person I don't see that with. Like you're consistently who you are on the show, off the show. That's what I said. And then after that, I was asking her what the differences were for her between Big Brother and The Amazing Race. And what she said, I guess she knew this episode was coming up too, so that probably impacted what she was telling me also. But this was before the episode had started. She said to me, the most major difference between this and Big Brother was that I was playing with my sister. Because she was like, obviously it's a different game. The Amazing Race is only a couple of weeks. It's not like Big Brother where you're locked up in the house for 90 days. She said, nothing will ever compare to the level of difficulty that I faced on Big Brother. But she said, nothing will ever compare to the level of difficulty I faced on Big Brother. But the thing that made The Amazing Race difficult in its own way was playing with my sister. She was like, my sister Simone is my heart. And she was like, it was so hard sometimes is where she had to do the challenge and I had to stand on the sideline and watch, and to see her struggling and crying and not being able to go. I spoke to Enzo and he was like, I was like, would you do Amazing Race? He's like, I was on the season, bro. I was like, oh shoot, you were, because I forgot that he got out in the first episode. It's funny. That was funny. And then he was just like, he's like, I'm 45. My old ass was never going to win against these 20-year-olds. Like, but I just went on there. Me and my brother, I think it was his brother. Yeah. Like, me and my brother just wanted to get paid and travel. And that was it. I need to catch up on the BB saga. I saw that comment already. I don't know. Unless there's something specifically great happening with that, I only see the same beefs. Just, I don't really see it as much of a saga. I watched like a little bit of Morgan. Morgan had a Twitch stream that somebody screen recorded, but not a lot happening in the off season has been interesting to me, aside from Ashley's interviews. Those have been interesting. I feel like everyone else is just kind of clout chasing. And I'm not going to drop names because just in case. I have specific names that I feel like are clout chasing the most. The most. She made a comment in the interview that I didn't understand. She said, I left at age 9. I don't even know. I don't know. But I do know that, what was it saying? At age 12, it was something crazy, like she graduated from college at age 19, something like that. Went to some school for the gifted or something. I don't know. I don't know if school had anything to do with it, or if they have
both of the same parents? Did the parents split? I don't know. I don't really understand that either. I don't get it. I didn't really ask too much. We did only speak for a few minutes. And there's not really a lot to. It's funny, she and I actually feel the same way about Amazing Race. Because when I said, because when I interviewed her, I asked her, like, oh, did you watch Big Brother since you were a kid? And she was like, no, I binged watched it for 3 months. And I was like, but when you got on the show, they said that you were a super fan. And she was like, yeah, well, I just binged it. I binged the show. I binged every season from 1 to 22 in 3 months, and then I just remembered everything. And I was like, you have got to be kidding me. Because while you were on the show, you were telling people were coming to you like, what competition do you think is coming up next? Tell me about these players. Like, you're telling people about Dr. Will, you're telling people about Dan Giesling, you're telling people about Janelle, you're talking about classic moments, and I'm sitting here thinking that you were watching the show for years, and you're telling me that you just picked it up and became a super fan just like that from binging it. She was like, yeah. Then when I asked her about The Amazing Race, and I said, did you binge all The Amazing Race seasons? She's like, no, I just watched that one season because my friends were on it. And she was like, I don't even think The Amazing Race is the type of show to binge anyways. She was like, it's kind of a cool family show. You can kind of sit around and watch with your family or whatever, but it's not the type of show that I would binge. And I was like, honestly, this is the first season of it. Y'all's season is the first season I ever watched. And it's only because I know so many of you. If it was like a cast of mostly people I didn't know, I probably wouldn't watch. But with that said, it started to hold my attention enough that I might see myself pulling up another season just to see if I like it when it does not have a Big Brother heavy cast like that, because I don't know. Episode 1 and 2, I didn't think I was gonna make it through. I was like, this is not really interesting to me. And then the episodes started to get interesting at the end when the people were racing to see who was gonna finish last. That part is actually the most interesting part to me, except for when it's not a close race, and like last week's episode when they don't even get to go meet the guy, the host. I don't know his name, but yeah, it's alright. But watch parties need to take notes, man. Watch parties need to take some notes. Have a smaller event in a smaller venue where people get a chance to actually sit and talk to the people that they come to see. Because that's one thing I can say I definitely had the opportunity to do in that bar, was talk to everybody and talk to them for a significant amount of time, as much as I wanted to, and I didn't feel like I lost a thing. And then they didn't have a mandatory food and drink rule, which is those city winery events at the challenge at this winery called City Winery. They have them. It's like a chain. It's like a chain winery that they have all over the country. And let's see, you go there and you pay 150 plus to 200 plus for a ticket to go see these challenge people. Then, on top of that, I'm getting off right after this. On top of that, they make you pay your table. How much is it? I think they say a 2-drink minimum, plus a mandatory $20 gratuity. So, on top of that, they force you to pay at the table as well as paying so much for the ticket. Yeah. So anyways, that's all I got to say for now. Thanks for joining me. Please make sure to like, comment, and subscribe, and hit that notification bell to get notified of when I drop some more incredible content. Thank you all, and enjoy the rest of your day.